Okay, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do the Tunisian rib stitch. Now, there's several different varieties of the rib stitch. So I'm making this tutorial so that you're making sure that you're doing the exact variation of it that I want you to use for this pattern. So this is a combination of Tunisian simple stitches and Tunisian twisted up simple stitches. So we're going to alternate the two of them. So I have just a little tiny swatch that I've started with a couple rows of simple stitches. I actually blocked it so it was laying nice and flat for the tutorial video. Yours obviously would be doing a little bit of curling, but I wanted to make sure it was a little easier for us all to see in the video. So I'm going to go on ahead and start with a simple stitch in my first stitch. Then to achieve that ribbed look, we're going to do a Tunisian twisted up stitch next. So if you don't know how to do the twisted up stitch, I'm going to show you here, but I also have an extra tutorial video that shows you the difference between twisted up and twisted down stitches if you want to watch that as well. But again, what's important is that you're inserting your hook from left to right if you're right-handed, the opposite way, and you're twisting up. I'm not very good at inserting it left to right, so I like to do this little cheat that I pull up the loop and get it loose. And then I insert my hook up and pull up and pull through a loop. So it creates this little V shape here that's making our rib stitch. And so you're just going to alternate those stitches. I'm going to do a simple stitch, and then I'm going to do the twisted up stitch. And if you're doing it correctly, you'll start to see these V's form on your work. Simple stitch, having a lot of trouble with it right now. There we go. And now my twisted up simple stitch, inserting my hook up as I'm twisting, creating the V. It's nice, you know what shape it's supposed to look like if you can read your work. You know you're twisting the wrong way if you're not creating those V-shape stitches. I'm going to simple to end the row, and then my last Tunisian stitch here, and then do my standard return pass. Now this does have a 2-row repeat. Because you want the V's to be off-centered in this one. They're not being stacked. So for this version of the stitch, we're actually going to connect these 2 loops to make our next V. So we're connecting the loops between the V's to make our rib stitch. So that means I'm actually going to Tunisian simple stitch the very first 2 loops, and then I'm going to do a twisted up on my 3rd loop so that these 2 will pull together. So let's go ahead and do that. So it helps if you can start to learn to read your work and make sure that your V's are not being stacked in this case, and that they're offset kind of like bricks. So there's my offset V right there in between my other 2 V's. And then I'm just going to continue across the row as usual. Now there are versions of this stitch where it is stacked, but specifically for this pattern, I want you to use the one where they're offset. So that's why I've made this specific tutorial video, since there is so many different variations of this stitch. I get to the end of my row. I like to double check it before I do the return pass and make sure I haven't dropped a stitch, missed the stitch, and I see that all my V's are alternating, and then I'm going to go ahead and complete my return pass. So we're back to the row 1 repeat. So we're going to simple stitch this first one, and then we're going to do a twisted up for this one, for the second one, and those two will twist and form the rib stitch here, and then it'll be offset again. So I'm just going to do the first couple stitches for you just as a reminder for the row 1 repeat. I'm going to simple stitch and do my twisted up, which means my hook is going up, simple stitch, and twist it up. So you can see that I now have those offset V's that I'm hoping to achieve.